When most of you are first diagnosed with plantar fasciitis, there are 3 common recommendations. Stretch your calf muscles, roll your foot on a frozen water bottle, and get a pair of Hoka's, Brooks, or New Balance shoes. Does that sound about right? What if I told you that all 3 of those recommendations are actually keeping you from resolving your plantar fasciitis? In this video, I will share with you 3 secrets to reverse your plantar fasciitis, and they are directly opposite of the 3 recommendations I just mentioned. I'm Dr. Angela, and I'm the Plantar Fasciitis Doc, and I'm all about helping you resolve PF at home. Now, let's get into it. The first secret that I want to share with you today is that stretching your calf muscle with static stretching is virtually ineffective. I'm sure most of you have heard that stretching your calf muscles can help correct PF, and there is some truth to that. Inflexibility in your calf muscles can and does lead to PF, but most people make this common mistake when it comes to stretching. There are multiple styles of stretching that target different goals. The most common types of stretching are static and active stretching. When most people hear the word stretch, they think about holding a stretching position for a prolonged period like 30 or 60 seconds. That's static stretching, also called passive stretching. The problem with static stretching is that if a muscle is stretched too far, too fast, or for too long, it elicits a protective action known as the stretch reflex. This causes the muscle to automatically recoil in an attempt to prevent the muscle from tearing. For years, prolonged static stretching was the gold standard for gaining flexibility and healing any musculoskeletal injury. However, static stretching has actually been shown to decrease blood flow and potentially cause irritation in the muscles and tendons. Now, I'm not saying that static stretching is necessarily bad. There are benefits, but in the case of PF, there are more effective ways to gain flexibility and mobility. Alternatively, active stretching involves short, active movements that feel more like repetitions than stretching and incorporate movement and motion. In my program, I recommend a type of active stretching that involves only holding a stretch for 2 seconds. This stretching technique allows the muscles and fascia to reach greater flexibility and maximum relaxation. I have a free guide that outlines my program and includes a detailed description of how to improve flexibility in your calf muscle. Put the word guide in the comments and I'll be sure you get a copy of that. Just to be clear, both types of stretching can be beneficial and static stretching has its place. But for rehabilitating muscle, joint, and fascia conditions, the evidence is comprehensively in favor of active stretching for improving function and mobility. The second secret is that rolling your foot on a frozen water bottle and massaging and icing your foot is delaying your healing. It's a waste of time and even detrimental to your recovery. And here's why. First of all, icing your PF is one of the worst things you can do. Applying ice can actually prolong healing and restrict necessary blood flow and circulation to the foot. You might be thinking, wait a minute, plantar fasciitis is an inflammatory condition because it has the suffix itis at the end, and besides, ice just feels good. Yeah, I know, we've all made this mistake, but if you've had plantar fasciitis for longer than 2 to 3 weeks, inflammation is not your problem. This is the #1 myth regarding PF. Now, there is a brief period where an inflammatory response is occurring, but it's a very short period of time. We have new research that clearly shows us that PF is more of a degenerative condition, a repetitive strain involving the breakdown of the soft tissues. And I'll get a little bit deeper into that later. So, using ice only further restricts movement and actually interrupts the healing process. Initiating heat and movement is the preferred protocol for musculoskeletal conditions, including PF. The second issue with using a water bottle to massage your foot is that it's not effectively removing fascial adhesions. It might feel good, but it's not getting to the root of your pain and immobility. I just mentioned that soft tissue breakdown is the cause of PF. This refers to the accumulation of adhesions in the fascia. Fascia is the connective tissue that wraps and surrounds every single thing inside of our body, including our muscles and other soft tissues. When your fascia is healthy, we are able to stretch and move fully. When it is unhealthy, it's rigid, inflexible, and very painful. Most people with PF have unhealthy, restricted fascia in their feet and calf muscles, and it can be the primary cause of your PF symptoms. Addressing fascial restrictions is step number 5 in my PF recovery program, and it is one of the most critical steps. Our fascia should freely glide without sticking or adhering together. So how do we get these adhesions? Adhesions form when the load placed on the body is greater than the capacity of the body's tissues to handle that load. In other words, if you put more stress on the tissues than they can handle, the response is a breakdown of those tissues and adhesions develop. Many people skip this important step in improving mobility. In fact, your stretching efforts will be virtually ineffective if you do not clear out fascial adhesions from the soft tissues before you stretch. The way that we release these adhesions is with targeted strokes using a specific tool that helps us locate and identify the adhesions. Fascial release is also called muscle scraping or fascial scraping. Use a fascial release tool to release bound up tissues in the gastrocnemius, soleus, Achilles tendon, posterior tibialis, and plantar fascia every 2 days. When fascia release is used properly and consistently, you feel noticeable instant relief, and your flexibility, mobility, and pain intensity improve significantly. I have a full video with the demonstration of how to release fascial adhesions. Be sure you take a look at that one. The third secret is that shoes will not fix your feet. Shoes with thick, heavy cushioning and built-in arch supports like Hoka's, Brooks, and New Balance are all sabotaging your progress. I'm sure one of the first recommendations you were given was to get these special shoes with inserts, and this will give you comfort and heal your PF. The truth is, shoe manufacturers are making millions off of your PF pain. They all claim that if you wear these shoes day and night, this will fix your feet. Unfortunately, most of you aren't seeing any resolution of your PF. Binding your feet with shoes that restrict normal movement is like wearing a cast. They limit your flexibility and rob your feet of normal function. Wearing a cast on any injury is useful, even necessary for a short period of time, but once the injury is healed, you don't keep wearing the cast for months or years, right? Imagine your doctor telling you your broken arm is all better, but only if you keep wearing the cast forever. That's not better. And the longer you wear the cast, the weaker your arm will get. That's crazy. But it's the same with the foot. The longer you use the support, the weaker your foot will get. We need shoes that support the natural shape of your feet and allow our feet to move and function normally. Our shoes should have features that include a wide toe box and no elevation of the heel, called zero drop. Unfortunately, the majority of conventional footwear has toe boxes that squeeze your toes together and elevates the heel above the forefoot. When we cram our toes and feet into footwear with narrow toe boxes, our feet cannot function normally and over time begin to weaken and atrophy. To function optimally, our feet and toes should spread and splay wide at the forefoot when we walk and run. We want a shoe that is widest at the toe that encourages natural toe splay and spreading of the toes. I have an approved shoe list with the shoes that I approve and recommend for plantar fasciitis. Put the word shoes in the comments and I'll be sure you get a copy of that. Another damaging feature is an elevated heel. When we think of a higher heel, we think of women's high heels, but any shoe that places your heel higher than your forefoot is a high heel. Almost every conventional shoe has an elevated heel, even men's shoes and running shoes. Having an elevated heel is like standing on a ramp all day, and it has negative effects on our feet, calf muscles, ankles, knees, and even our posture. Heel elevation causes a chronic shortening of our calf muscle group, the gastrocnemius, soleus, and Achilles tendon. When the calf group is constantly shortened, it leads to chronically tight calf muscles, a stiff and rigid Achilles tendon, and limited ankle mobility. Elevation in footwear also causes excessive stress on the forefoot because our foot is continually placed in a downward angle. So, the takeaway? Any degree of heel elevation built into a shoe only serves to destabilize your foot muscles, shorten the heel cord, alter posture, and is detrimental to your overall health and function of the foot and lower leg. I shot another video that digs deeper into the best shoe brands and the ones to avoid. Watch that video next. I'll see you there.